a wider product catalog of bets, right? You're just going to have a much broader spectrum of things that people might come up with. You don't have the traditional linear middleman with the balance sheet in play. You just have two people on either side of the bet, and the platform is now matchmaking supply and demand, basically, and then taking a cut.
So this article is interesting. It came out a few weeks ago, and it's talking about the casino world is all set for a peer-to-peer platform revolution. We've spoken about this before. We've spoken about how there's actually been more deals now in the casino betting world and tie-ups between the physical casino operators and the digital platform players, one of whom is actually in the platform ETF. So we've covered some of this. What we've been saying is, if you think about traditional betting, it's linear, right? Where the casino, let's say sports betting, they're betting or they're creating bets off of their own balance sheet, right? So they have a spread that they need to cover one way or the other depending upon, which side of the spectrum wins that bet. And so they need to protect that spread. Peer-to-peer betting, and what they're saying here can happen now, particularly in sports, is basically where I connect, say, Alex with Kirk, and we come up with our own bet or we come up with our own terms. And you're basically cutting the middleman out, right? You're cutting the middleman, essentially the bookie or the casino that is needing to now be the backstop for that bet. And the bookie needs to cover both sides of the bet. So if I cut out the middleman and now I just connect the two of us who are basically taking opposing sides of that bet, what's going to happen is you save on margin. And that means that you could essentially have a wider product catalog of bets, right? You're just going to have a much broader spectrum of things that people might come up with. Maybe the odds aren't actually spot on, right? Maybe they're kind of skewed in one direction or the other. But hey, if you find a taker for it, then you find a taker for it, right? So you're going to have a wider product catalog spectrum, A. And B, you're just going to have cheaper economics to facilitate that bet, right? You don't have the traditional linear middleman with the balance sheet in play. You just have someone who's on either side, two people on either side of the bet, and the platform is now matchmaking supply and demand, basically, and then taking a cut. It is more similar to a model where you have an online, poker table, and the platform is just enabling these people to play poker with each other and then taking a cut of the throughput of money spent playing poker, as opposed to, hey, are the Patriots gonna, cover the over or whatever the line is. So the article talks about how the Supreme Court and rulings and regulation has now enabled this to happen. We've covered some peer-to-peer startups that are actively doing this in this space. I think this is the next big space for casinos, is to have an ecosystem, online digital ecosystem, which has a winner-take-all dynamic, which their physical infrastructure of having the actual casino now actually is a perfect complement to this world. And this has a winner-take-all dynamic, because if every casino, which there's now a number of different casino players out there, every casino has their own peer-to-peer sports betting platform, well, they just won't. It's not all apples to apples, right? Because there's a network effect here. And the sports betting platform that has the most number of users and participants will naturally, A, have the widest product catalog of bets, and B, give you the most active matching of supply and demand, which means the most volume, the most liquidity, et cetera, i.e. the best experience. So if there's 10 different peer-to-peer sports betting platforms, they just won't all be equal. And so what you'll find is that there'll naturally be one or two winners in a market like this, and that's the demand and supply side network effect. It's kind of like a prosumer model, because you're both a consumer and a producer in some sense. But we've seen other prosumer models, particularly with like social media platforms or payment platforms. If you think about a Venmo, where you're both, say, sending and receiving money, there's a lot of similar dynamics here. Point is, you still have winner-take-all dynamics. And whichever casino I think seizes upon the moment for this can really do a great job to extend their reach beyond their physical walls. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.